no.
The Democrat proposed bill H.R. 6666
That means the full power and strength of the military.
I'm just an average man with an average life. Put on my mask to drive. Hell, I'm just being nice. They won't leave me alone, even in my safe space home. Voice at my door says, you're in the COVID zone, and the contact tracers, they're always watching me. Goodbye to privacy, oh no. And now our neighbors act like the KGB. Not very neighborly. I watch the news at night and lock my door with fright. People in a van I'm trying to avoid. Am I under surveillance or am I just paranoid? In the parking lot frightened, I'm afraid to go in there. They might interrogate me or want samples of my hair. Apps that are tracking me installed on my phone. Vaccinate and chip me and send me back home. That's why I just don't want them injecting me. Psychotic pharmacy, oh no, I won't comply with Nancy Pelosi. Total hypocrisy.
A new study finds Democrat officials may be using so-called contact tracing to affect the outcome of this year's elections.
Oh no.
And are we the contact tracing to stalk citizens,
Track down people.
search their homes?
It is for the public good.
Some people have expressed privacy concerns tied to the data collected. Health officials say it's necessary.
They think we're invading your privacy, which in this case we do.
Track down those who've been in recent contact with a person who's become infected.
I don't want to go anywhere. The purge is happening. Is that tower microwaving me? There's a chip in me. They've subpoenaed my ISP. Who? The CDC. Operation Warp Speed makes no sense to me. Unsafe technology. Not in my country. No police state for me. My choice, my body. Bill Gates and Soros, they want technocracy. Nightmare for you and me. The contact tracers, they're coming down the street. Just don't come visit me. The contact tracers, they're apprehending me. Throw me in quarantine. The contact tracers, now they're injecting me. No herd immunity.
We need more contact tracers than before.
Oh no.
Oh no, Awaken in the morning. I'm Airborne-Saint. I have Aaron with me again. And watch out for those contact tracers. I'm going to read Psalms 13, verse 5, and then we'll start the discussion today. I have trusted in thy mercy. My heart shall rejoice in thy salvation. That's where we're coming from here. So let me bring Aaron forward here and we'll talk about some stuff. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm waking up.
Are watching you.
That was a good song. They even brought up the warp speed. Good for them.
Yeah. That's Media Bear. That guy rocks. He comes out with, man, I just every now and then he does it right. And that's another great hit from Media Bear. I'll put the links in the description.
Yeah, do that.
I'll give us some chemtrails for this morning. So we have a nice
That's lovely. I love it when people post pictures on Instagram and they're like, look at my beautiful view. And they've got just massive chemtrails in the sky. And I'm like, yeah, look at that. They got chemicals spraying all over you. And they're like, what? Those are natural.
Yeah, that's totally natural in a grid pattern too. I mean, that's the best way to move passengers in a grid pattern. You know, I can back that up.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's good that you say that, because I told you guys about my horrible church experience. Well, and I should have known better, because just before my horrible church experience, I know the pastor because we are in a gym class together, and he and I were talking about the chemtrails, and he's like, that actually can happen naturally. And I was like, oh great, he thinks I watched just one video to learn about chemtrails. But he's like, well, I was in aviation school. And I'm like, well, I know pilots who would tell me different, so whatever.
Yeah. Which aviation school? Online?
It's called Rocky Mountain College, and it's a very expensive private school. And I'm not sure. He didn't say he ever flew. He just said he went to aviation school.
Well, Embry-Riddle is our top of the line aviation school in our profession. So
he didn't go there.
No, it didn't sound like it. But I mean, there's plenty of people from Embry-Riddle that will look right at those chemtrails and not see them. So education does not equal awake. It does not.
I would think it'd do the opposite. In fact, if he went to aviation school, they're going to teach him, oh yeah, that just happens when the crystals and the atmosphere and and then, that it could be the same dew point and everything from one day to the next, and yet they're going to act like, well, it's different. The atmosphere is different. The temperature must be different up there in space.
Yeah, the whole space thing. I can't really transition with the space thing. So, but I started the chemtrail. That's my fault. But I've had just with chemtrails, I've had aircraft where they're the same altitude, right, with a pilot right next to me. And he's saying, he's like, well, that's a contrail. And I was like, yeah, but look, that aircraft's right next to it. That one's not doing it, and that one's doing it. Now explain how that happens. Oh, I know one. I know a pet peeve of mine that I'll throw out there, and let's see where you are on this one. Have you heard of the jet engines not running on fuel? Boy, I love this discussion.
I have heard that, and that there's a gravitational ability that they have. And so that's all just a farce.
Yeah, they have a gravitational capability. It's called low pressure on the upper wing through high airspeed. That's the gravitational capability. But the thing is, it's just funny because I've had people send me things, and the real good, and I enjoy any conspiracy theory. And I actually looked into it. I was like, number one, I don't know how it's possible when I will load up on 4,700 pounds of gas from a S-92 helicopter. I physically see it, and I run the weight to fly the thing. So why am I carrying the weight, and where's all the fuel going? Because it's going in it because the weight's physically there, right?
Yeah.
So it's running on gas, but it's not. It's kind of, and it's never a pilot too. It would be awesome if a pilot came to me with this idea, because they would have an understanding of how jet engines actually work, because I've had people tell me based off of just their research how jet engines work, and that's not how they work. You're like, they work on compressed air. It's like, yes, the compressed air does operate jet engines, but there's more to it. Something starts the compressed air. Something starts it. Right.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a pilot who knows that chemtrails are real, so that's good. And I asked him about that one time. I said, is that even possible?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but now I have two. But I have one that I physically hang out with from time to time. Cool. And I asked him, because he makes my colloidal silver for me. So he's a very nice friend that I have. Yeah. So I asked him about that because somebody dropped in my Discord one day and blew it up. They went into every channel, and I have a lot. They went into a lot of my channels, and they're like dropping this stuff. And then they got mad if we didn't believe it right away. And I was like, now I'm not even going to look into it. Forget it. Maybe someday it'll come across my desk again. But then I asked my pilot friend, and he's like, no, that's not possible. So I was like, okay, I just trusted him. He knows a lot more than I do.
Yeah, this is one that's brought up to me a lot. The APU does it, and that doesn't make any sense at all. That's like somebody that doesn't understand how a car works and saying the carburetor does it. It doesn't make it totally does not make sense. The APU is used to start a jet engine, and it's used for emergency power. But we can go into this whole thing. But the problem is, engine class in aviation, if you're learning engines, it takes at least a minimum of 6 months to learn how the engine works. Just schematics and going through. You can't Google it. You can't Google it, especially if you're going around thinking the APU runs the jet engine. You already don't make.
You just can't watch one video and know. There we go.
No, well, you can if it has to do with a racial attack during a scenario where you want to transform the police into the brown shirts so you can collect everybody's weapons. But man, I jumped to the end of the story, didn't I? I just jumped to the
Wow.
end of the story.
Oh,
You like
we're
how-
done now. Have a nice
Yeah.
day, everybody.
All right. I closed that. I don't have any of my rim shots ready. I gotta time these things correctly. You know, this is the problem right here. This is the problem.
How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
I meant to stay in school when I clicked the wrong one. But
Well, I enjoyed the how dare you one. How dare you?
how dare you? Yeah, that's the virtue signaling of the opposite side. That how dare you have an idea? How dare you say a video was not correct, and
My
then
fa-
you videos.
My favorite is Mark Dice doing his voiceover for her. I watch every video pretty much that Mark Dice makes, and he does the voiceover for her, and it's just hilarious. Just like he does Brian Stelter. It's hilarious. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Well, she's easy to parody, and they make it so easy. And Destiny Lab will be on here later on, and he actually found, we had a discussion probably about 3 months ago about her, and then he looked up some kind of research. He did actual research on it. Imagine that. And he found that the left had used an exact person like that in the 70s. And she was doing the same exact thing, saying she should be in
The braids.
well, I don't think she had braids. She had
Oh.
like long brunette hair, but she was the same gimmick. Like they pull out the same stops. They don't change their story really. So it's
Yeah,
kind of
they use the braids a lot in other propaganda going back to like Hitler's time. So that is sometimes the braids are a thing. I'm getting a question, so yes.
coming in hot.
Okay, yes. She's like leaning in. You don't have to do that. Okay. Yeah, that was cute.
That was, yeah, we didn't plan that. That was awesome.
It
So
happens. I have kids. Anyone on my channel knows that it just happens.
Well, you can't blame her. You know?
There's the cat.
Oh, there's a cat coming in. There's a cat. Here we go.
Okay, go watch your show. God bless him.
How dare you? Yeah, I wanted to talk about Chaz today. Chaz and Chop and whatever else they want to call themselves. I don't know. What do you
Call
want
him
to talk?
Chud. I'm calling him Chud. I don't know what it stands for, but it sounds better to me.
I
Chud.
think Chop is Capitol Hill organized protest.
Yeah.
I think Chop
I don't.
is.
It's the AutoZone, and every time I hear about AutoZone, I get the Champion Auto Parts song in my head. Champion Auto Parts, AutoZone. I don't know if it's even the same store, but that's all I can think about. And the fact that they're always like seeming to take over the AutoZones, like the car parts stores. It's odd. I'm like, oh well, they really are the AutoZone.
Did you see the guy with the car lot that's stuck in there and they knocked this fence over? That video that was going around, and the leaders of the chop said, well, how do you feel that this is happening? It's like, I feel like I've been let down. I mean, this is my business and you're just destroying it for no reason at all. Like he's stuck there. He can't sell it. He's in the middle of it. He can't sell. Who's going to buy it? I would buy a business in the middle of Chop. Who's going to buy that? I mean,
no one, because what we've got here with this autonomous zone and is something that has happened all over the world and other places, and we don't always hear about it, but what happens is one of two things. Either the government comes in and takes over with the military, or they just become a new hierarchy of power that becomes the thing they were fighting against in the first place. And so it's almost like there's just no thought that goes into these things. They're not organized at all in there. It sounds like there's a lot of infighting. And what my friend, we were talking previous to this about my friend Rockman, who went in and is going to go back in again tonight. You know, the footage is very superficial because all you're seeing is just the people that are kind of walking around protesting. There's people out on a jog. There's people getting donuts, and it all looks like that in the daytime. But he says, you know, he says you can feel that there's two factions there. You know, there's two factions because what we can see is not what he can see. And he notices that there's people watching him. There's people there was people, apparently he didn't hear it till later when he was rewatching his own video, that somebody was yelling at him to turn his camera off. And he didn't know that, but he started noticing people were just really eyeing him, eyeballing him. So there is like this for us, what looks like just people marching around protesting with some signs. He didn't see much on the videos that he had, but then he's saying, no, there's been people watching me. There's a few interactions you can see. He said the guy on the skateboard meant to cut him off, or this guy wrecks on his skateboard in front of him. So he figured the best thing to do would be to help him with his skateboard and be like, are you all right, man? And, just trying to play the part to not get kicked out or worse. So it's pretty chaotic, even though it doesn't look like it, because it just anything you could do something wrong and they beat up some kid, tried to take his phone, tried to pretend they hugged it out at the end, and there was a story that said, oh, we hugged it out, it was great, it was just a beautiful moment. But the words that this guy was saying to the kid as he beat him up, trying to take his phone, it was pretty bad. I don't have it, like the article in front of me, but I could pull it up and drop it if somebody's really interested. But basically all they did was just beat up this kid, and then the cover story or the narrative says, well, it came out loving. We had a nice hug at the end, and everybody was crying. And now I'm even going to mentor this kid that I took his phone from and called him all these horrible names. And it's like, okay, it's just a total chaotic situation. There's no planning. There's no thought process. There's not much going into it, I don't think.
Well, the freaks come out at night too. So you definitely want to get a report at night for the brave man that will be there at night and see. I can't even imagine what that place sounds like or looks like at night with no order at all.
We've gotten just a few videos that have come out of there, not from anyone I personally know, but I don't care for Jack Posobiec, or however you say his name. However, he has been going in there and doing some videoing, and it's been something that the head dude Raz Simone didn't like that there was that stuff's coming out. So they're really trying to keep it under wraps, that they're not up, that they're violent. They're violent. They're hiding guns, and now Portland and then Atlanta sounds like they've got the same thing going on. They're starting to do it over there too. I was surprised Portland wasn't the first place.
Yeah, Portland they're kind of nutty already on their own. So that's the thing. I don't know if you saw the California barricades. I don't know if that was in your video where the mayor delivered the California barricades to help them out. Like they're giving them
local government's helping.
Yeah, they're giving them busing. They're giving them electricity and water. We got random kids kissing us. I mean,
it's just adorable and horrible at the same time.
Such mixed emotions.
I know. No, in fact, Rockman said he saw the fire chief doing some work, helping out. The local government was bringing in cement blocks and helping out. It's just.
Yeah, that's weird. That's a little weird. And nobody's going to go up there and save them or anything like that, because number one, why? It's not like us Texans. It's not our area. I've talked to some of the local boys in Texas that have been dreaming for the commies to show up. Those type of people. I've had those kind of conversations. Like, what do you think about this Chaz thing? And they're like, yeah, they're going to destroy that place. I mean, nobody wants to go up there.
No.
They don't want to go up there and mess with that.
Yeah, there was like that word that the Mongols and the HA were going to go up there, and I was like, oh, these are enemies. And I'm like, I don't know that they're really going to get together just to go up to Seattle unless they're just bored. I don't know. I don't think that really happened.
No,
I think we would have heard about it.
I heard there was some bike clubs going up there, but then looking into it, it didn't make any sense, because it would make sense if they had some kind of commerce there, like a turf type thing. Like maybe they earn some turf and that 6 blocks digs into it, that type of thing. And I know those patch guys won't deal with that. They won't let you take their turf. They'll show up, and and then the Antifa and the BLM won't know. They won't even know why they're getting their butt kicked. They just have to walk on an area that has been earned by somebody, but other than that, I don't see why they would go up there at all, It seems to be like a big honeypot luring people in type thing, because if it was a true takeover and it was truly autonomous, there would be no power, there would be no water. They would say, we need supplies. I'd be like, yeah, you do need supplies. You're an enemy of the United States. Most enemies of the United States do need supplies. Good luck with that. We have bombs for you. You want some of those? That's what enemies usually get, right? They don't get supplies. So it seems there's a lot going on. There's a lot of dynamic. So anywhere you want to steer this thing, like I jumped to the end. I said, brown shirts, weapons collected. I jumped to the end of the story.
Well, the problem that I have with all of this is I have been having a bad attitude about it, and so I haven't wanted to do a lot of research on this particular group at all. And you need to stop interrupting. Okay, thank you. Okay, okay, that's the last time you can interrupt. Thank you. What this doesn't usually happen to this extent. What I've noticed locally, so I just started kind of paying attention locally, is like still more people seem to be wearing masks than I've ever seen before. And
Yeah, that's all happening, huh?
and I try to, I'm like you said, you try to test the waters. I'm the same way. I try to joke with people and be like, didn't you know the riots, cured the coronavirus? Or I want to ask people why they're even wearing them and act like I don't even know what's going on. Like I just came out of the mountains or something. Like, why are you wearing a mask? What's going on there? And I was telling you how yesterday these two kids literally did look like they could be out of Antifa, but I don't know that they are. They just dress like it. They come into a brewery, this beer bar, and they're wearing masks, ordering beers with their masks on. And I'm thinking, how are you going to drink those? And they're, wearing satanic clothing. And I'm just like, this is just life now. And I don't want my kids to think that's normal. I don't want them to go, that's what we're supposed to do, is scan foreheads. They wanted to scan their foreheads at church. I had to walk out of church, a different church. I walked out again, second time in 2 weeks, this last Sunday, because they wanted to scan their foreheads for temperature. That at the YMCA for the camp, they want to scan their foreheads. And I understand that places are just doing what they have to do to be open, but at the same time, I'm like, well, what do you think is going to happen? You think any of us, I guess some Karen probably would tell on them. Some Karen like, they're not scanning the foreheads. I mean, but none of us even know what the rules are. So how would we even be able to complain? I don't know that why scan the children and nobody else? Why can the children go into a regular church congregation without being scanned for their temperature, but they can't go around other kids? I mean, none of it is not logical at all.
No. And I always run trending questions on the medical store scanning people. And maybe, I don't know if you've done this. If you haven't done it, you should try it. Every store I go into, because they do it here. This is a worldwide attack. This isn't just America. And I'll go in to the store and I got to get my temperature to go in the store. And every single time it's a different person. And I say, excuse me, have you, how many people have you taken temperatures of today? And she'll say, I'm up to about 300 today. And I said, how long have you been doing this? For a couple of weeks now. And then I say, have you seen anyone with a temperature at all? That's not allowed to come in the store, because they do have a little mark where if you go above, I think here it's 37 degrees Celsius. If you go above that, you can't shop. And I said, have you denied anybody shopping from a temperature at all since you've been doing this? No. And I said, well, is COVID serious then? COVID's very serious. It's very serious. Very serious. Well, why? The trend would say it's not serious. I mean, is nothing clicking in anyone's brain where they're like, wait a minute, no one's dying or anything. What are we doing? What's going on?
I think it's starting to click in some people's brains. Like I said before, we were talking a little bit. I have a friend who's Democrat. She's voted Democrat almost all her life. She voted for Donald Trump because she hated Hillary Clinton. So, there was some hope there. But what happens with her and I is we get together and I try to slowly ease into conversation with her about some of these things. And not only is she so sick of Corona, because at first, she was kind of taking that, her and her son, she's like, well, we're going to stay in, we're going to obey that. And I was like, you don't have to do that, but whatever. And then now she's just sick of it as I am. And then when, George Floyd was first allegedly taken out, she wouldn't talk to me about that because it horrified her so bad. But now she's willing to talk about that. She's telling me, well, they're painting him as some kind of saint and he wasn't. I'm like, oh, we can talk about this now, which is good. I'm excited because this is someone I love. She's a longtime friend and she's waking up to this stuff, and her boyfriend's waking up to it. At first, he was even like, well, my mom should wear a mask. She's older, going to church, and now he's as sick of it. So yes, there are people that are going, it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And also, it's infringing on their lives enough that they're tired of it. It's starting to affect them personally enough that they're getting tired of it.
Yeah, I almost wonder if this second wave thing is being denied by the waking, because I've heard a lot of prep for a second wave, and you've probably heard it too. When it comes back, it's double as hard, and it's going to be bad, and it's going to be this, and then you hear all the rumors of, oh, now a bunch of people are infected, which doesn't make any sense at all. That rumor doesn't make sense, because people out of nowhere will say, well, 3,000 more infected today. And I'd say, how do you even know that? How would you know that? How is that even a number where did that come from? He's just pulling it out of the sky. And there's
Yep.
people even in New York now that I found out today, even in New York City, they're just going to the parks. They're like
Yep.
they're cutting,
They're breaking the locks.
Yeah, I guess you saw that video. And they're cutting things and just going to the parks. They're like,
Yep, they're done.
I'm done being stuck in my house. This is stupid. Nobody's dying. Nobody's sick. What are we
Well,
doing?
I think I woke my friend up a little bit more yesterday too when she was like, "Oh man, summer's just going by fast," because they're just still doing baseball for the kids. Her son's in baseball. I pulled my kids out of anything I had them signed up for, and I said, "Give me a refund. I'm not doing this late in the season. I'm going to go camping and do other things." But they're still playing baseball, and it's in the middle of June, almost. We're halfway through June, and I said, and she's kind of like, I just look forward to things going back to normal. And I said, they're not going to ever go back to normal. I said, what you see happening, I said, and I told her, I said, this is going to come back every year. And she was like, she was actually listening to me. And it's not that she doesn't ever listen to me. It just, you have to take it slow with the conversation that you had. But I kind of hit her upside the head with this one. And I said, this is going to come back every year. They're going to try to do this every year. I said, there's some cities that want to do lockdown for 50 days, lockdown, 30 days, not lockdown. Can you imagine living in a city like that?
No.
And right now we have a Democrat governor, and we've got Gianforte running for his spot. And Gianforte, if you remember, is the guy that Donald Trump propped up for knocking out a reporter, punched a reporter or something, or grappled him or something. Anyway,
Wow.
So Gianforte is supposed to be this like bad dude. I've met him. He's okay, but at least he's Republican, and I get the game. I'm not trying to tell you guys to pick a left-right pair, on the Hegelian dialectic. But what I am saying is at least I feel safer with a guy like that as our governor, and I hope he gets voted in, because I feel a lot better having him in there than this governor we have now. Because I think I told you last time, I don't want to say the same thing too many times, but I think I told you what Governor Little is doing over there in Idaho by suppressing laws that protect children with those quarantine camps. Did we talk about that last time?
No, I don't know if we did. If we did, I don't remember, so just say it again.
Okay. So Governor Little in Idaho is they put out an advertisement on their government website that they need people for these emergency quarantine camps for children, and they even put the locations. And apparently that was kind of by accident. I think they meant to keep it, just within the employees that already work there or something, because what happened is it blew up, and it created a whole storm of people that were angry, because not only were they creating these emergency quarantine camps for children, he was suppressing laws to protect kids, as in, so you could have as many kids to one worker as they needed or wanted. They suppressed that law, where normally you can only have 6 kids to one trained worker. They also suppressed the law that they have to train anybody to work with these kids. They suppressed the law for protection for private bathrooms and toilets, so that they have to share. They suppressed the law where they have to inform the parents if they take the kids, if they think the kids were exposed or have coronavirus. And they suppressed the law for parents to be able to even visit their children. That is what's going on in Idaho right now.
That's not good.
Right.
So you don't hear a lot about that at all.
No. And I mean, if you find the right sources, if you don't know somebody everywhere that's kind of looking into this, if we don't have a friend digging from every state, we aren't going to know, you guys. And so you got to look into your own state. You don't have to look into somebody else's state necessarily. But if you know that Idaho is doing that, Idaho is a red state. And if Idaho's governor feels like he's going to do that, I know they're fighting it. I know that the guy who made a video about it had, at the time, he had over 480,000 views on a video, and he only had 1,000 subscribers. And before that, his videos were only getting 400, 500 views. So this is going viral, but it's getting attention, and they are trying to do something about it. But and then somebody tells me that sheriffs can go in and arrest the governor. Well, why aren't our sheriffs doing that? Why aren't they doing, if the governors are doing unlawful things to us and suppressing laws like that, where they can take our kids and not even tell us if they've been allegedly exposed? This is,
I wonder what the level of corruption, or the level of I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Just this lockstep thing where everyone's working together type deal. Like I don't know if you saw the video going around of the reports, the initial reports of the infection rate of the coronavirus, or the infected people. That's what it was, because it should be a little bit different everywhere you go. And there's a video going around where a guy spliced a report from several different states within the United States one from Scotland, one from England, one from Germany, one from over here in Saudi Arabia, one from in Jordan and somewhere over there. And every one of them, India's in there. Every one of them says, well, we've had 33 more people today. 33 more people today. 33 more people today.
33. Yep. And 322. A lot of 322 going on too.
There's a lot of that. It's kind of a, I think it's a marker to say, hey, we're in on it. We're in on it. We got it.
Mm-hmm.
We got it. We're running on page 4. We're okay. Page 5 says in the United States, page 5 says, oh, well, the police get jacked up now. Okay, we're going to start doing that, and then in Germany, they're like, oh, we're going to care about George for some reason. We're just going to do that. And they did that. Germany had riots for George Floyd. Are you aware of that?
I'm aware that it's worldwide because Black Lives Matter is an organized paid group that's organizing all over the world. They're selling T-shirts, they're making millions, and guess who it's all going to? I'm sure you know it's all going to the DNC.
Yeah, they have merch. Isn't that great? And now they're protected because you can't even, just listening in on different Senate discussions because I'm trying to see what are they going to do to me next. That's why I'm watching those type of things. Yep. And you can hear that they will not talk against the Black Lives Matter movement when the foundation of that, the founding person of that movement is someone who killed a cop and fled the United States. Many people don't know that. That is the person that originally founded that movement. And now it's funded by communists, plain straight out communists funded. And that's not even a secret. Just look it up.
I want to tell somebody who's saying that they didn't see George Floyd's tattoos. You guys, we got to be so careful. I'm going to bring this up because I don't often get attention from new people. So I want you guys to realize that that's not a good video to go by. Those tattoos were there in the video. If you got to go to the original video, the tattoos were there. I'm not saying it wasn't a hit job. This is the problem. See, this is where we butt heads with people is they think that
trolled?
if they think, huh?
Are you getting trolled on the George Floyd video?
Well, people get mad if I try to say that that's not what they think. We have to be careful with disinformation ourselves because as truthers, if we just take a meme and share it and we don't look into it, we're actually part of the problem, and they're doing that to us on purpose. They're trying to make us look like the problem. And so the video that tries to make it look like his tattoo isn't there, you can see that it's blurred. If you go to the original video, the tattoo is there. I can't speak about the hair. I think it was a hit job. I certainly don't think that it's just a sad thing. And so what people got to realize is if I'm going to push back on something, that doesn't mean I'm suddenly on the other side. It doesn't mean I'm suddenly going to argue the whole narrative. I do think that it was a hit job, or maybe he's been dead already, and maybe the footage was spliced. It looks like it's been spliced from different things. However, you got to be careful.
My theory is totally not where your theory is. We're totally in different things. We agree that it's not what they say it is. We're in agreements there. I think it's completely physically possible for the cop and George Floyd to come on this program if they wanted to. That's where I'm at with it.
Oh, sure. He could still be alive. That's true too. Yeah, I don't have a theory, to be honest. I mean, the only theory I feel strongly about is that it's a 322 33, skull and bones Illuminati hit job. I mean, it's all part of the plan.
If they didn't want us talking like that, why would they put it in every single thing? Like, you can't walk down the street without hearing that number associated with what's going on.
Yeah, all you have to do is go to your internet browser, whatever you use for searching, and just type in COVID 322 or 322 COVID, and it's just story after story after story with that number. This many people diagnosed today. This is 33 and 322, all of it. Just it's so dumb that sometimes I feel like it kind of doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we ever find out what happened to George Floyd or that Chauvin or anybody. It doesn't matter because we already know. We already know who's behind it.
The important thing is that we know we're being lied to.
Right.
I really believe that is the important thing. Getting bogged down in the details is just that's a trick of the trade. Wouldn't it be awesome if 800 truther woken up people just argue about what color George Floyd's pants was that day.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, who cares? Who cares? Right? I mean,
Right.
what we need to care about is look at actual criminal data, because it's all out there. You can look at, even if the video is real and everything is real, even if it's real, you can look at actual criminal data on how many times do police interact with people every day, and it gets to a point where it could be violent and it doesn't go there, versus how many times does it go violent and how many times is the police corrupt in the violence. And if you actually run the statistical data, there isn't a problem. That's a dangerous thing to say, but there isn't a problem. There really isn't. And we've been prepped for a long time, for a very long time. I've noticed this. I've noticed turning on Facebook, 'cause I just look at it because, you know, I have family connected to it. And you can look at videos on Facebook. The only videos you get from police on Facebook for the last 3 or 4 years were cops being jerks. They're always talking bad. I mean, how many times have you turned on a Facebook video and the police are like, "Hey, you're doing good, fine citizen." You know, you don't hear any of that from any cop. They're always asking you, "Why do you have a camera? Why are you doing this? Why do you have a gun?" And then I talk to police friends that I know, and none of them act that way. And I'm like, well, this is a little disparity here. None of you guys act like that. Why is that only on Facebook? Is there an agenda?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's an agenda.
Yeah, there is. And again, this is why I have to work on my attitude, because sometimes I sit here and go, I cannot believe how duped people are and how many of them are duped. And I'm like, I mean, in fact, I was thinking about this. I told you about my church experience the first time and how they put up a Black Lives Matter video with TD Jakes and Carl Lentz of all satanic people. But I just been thinking about it for 2 weeks. Like, how do these people, I feel like they love Jesus. I feel like they're prayerful people. I've seen them. They love each other. They're good to each other. They're kind people. How are they so duped by this? Like, how did that happen? And it's funny because I have a friend he's like, you should ask him, offer to take, the pastor's wife to coffee and ask her how they got to that point. Like, how do you get to this point where this is a organization that you believe in? And I'm like, I don't know if I'm there yet, but it would be interesting. I really would be interested in hearing. It'd be kind of hard because it's such a volatile subject that I think it would be difficult to sit down and have that conversation well. Not sure I would do it well, or, I'd have to really just not give an opinion and just ask the questions. But I'm not sure I'm there yet, but I am curious how do these people that seem to love Jesus and pray for truth and even have some understanding of some other things, but they don't know about this. It boggles my mind.
Well, it's something I've seen because I've watched the same thing, with many subjects in the religious world. And it seems the one common denominator among the saved Christians. Okay. So we understand the concept of saved Christian. So we use that concept, and the common denominator among them. Okay. And you tell me how you feel about this. I've noticed they're definitely not interested in the book of Revelation. They're not interested in that book. And if there's any hint that this world is coming to an end and we have to transition to Jesus coming back, that scares them. And that's 10 years down the road. That's not my lifetime. Oh, that's not happening now. Like, where did you go, Christian? We shouldn't be loving this. We're not supposed to love this place. We're supposed to, like, I always joke and I say, well, the God of this world is running amok. You can't even walk down the street without putting a mask on now. I mean, what's this guy doing? I want to be here when Jesus is running it, when we don't have any of these issues. We're not going to have any of this deceit because he's going to end that stuff. But the common denominator, it seems like every one of them do not want end times talk. It bothers them. They're really into a lot of the progressive thoughts, like, let's put a rainbow flag in our church in the back hall so everybody can see it.
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm being totally serious. Like they have included the world in the church. Like the church and the world did not mix, and they've mixed them. That's what I'm seeing. I mean, what are you seeing?
And I would agree. That's why this church in particular confuses me, because they're not doing the mass. They're not making us sit 6 feet apart. That's why I wanted to go there in the first place. It was a new church for me. And the first time I went, I thought it was great. I agreed with everything they had to say. I've agreed with a lot of the things that they believe in. So it was like a total 180 to come the next week and have this Black Lives Matter stuff in my face, and them thinking that TD Jakes and Carl Lentz interview is a good idea. I'm like, I got to get out of here. Like it was demonic. I felt like just invaded, violated. So I had to go. But that's anyway. I'm not trying to continue telling the same story over and over. I'm trying to say that's where my confusion sits sometimes. And when I think about things, I go, how did this happen? That these people, they're not wearing masks. They're not sitting 6 feet apart. They're not falling for that. And the pastor even told me if they told him to close his doors again, he wouldn't. He wouldn't close his doors again. He said, we might have to go underground. I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm like, great, this is the right church for me. Oh no. So it's really hard to find that community. It's just hard to find the right people. And then in that difficulty, my heart is breaking. My heart is breaking for so many people that I can't help. I have prayed about this ever since that church incident happened. I prayed for that community. I prayed for that pastor. I said, what do I do? Do I do anything? Because what I want to say for in Aaron's worldly mindset, I want to tell them how wrong they are. I want to say, don't you understand who these people are? And then I want to show them who these people are. But I can't do that. That's putting Holy Spirit in their life, and I can't do that. And the Lord has just told me to stay quiet about it. That if they talk to me and say, hey, Aaron, why'd you leave? Or why'd you walk out? Or what do you think about? Are you coming back? Then I'm just supposed to say, I'm praying for you guys. And that's really all. I'm not coming back, and I don't have anything else to say about it. I really am not supposed to say anything. That's how I feel the Lord is telling me to do this.
Yeah, I mean, you got to follow your heart on how the Holy Spirit guides you. And you definitely don't want to plant seeds of deceit in a confused world. I mean, throw some truth on the way out the door, and when you run into them, throw truth at them. But the thing we got to watch is anger is programmed into the whole thing.
Yes,
because as we know things and we call ourselves awake, you're never fully awake. I mean, we can both agree to that. If we don't, you're not waking up enough, because there's always something more to know. There's always something that, wow, I didn't see that. You have to have that. You have to have that ability to know that you don't fully know everything. That's step one for us to see these things. And then when you're talking to somebody about it, I hold back all the time. I'm like, how can you not see this stuff? How can you not see it? It's so easy to see it. I don't. It's hard not to get mad.
Yeah, it's and I have anger problems that I've been working on for years. So it's that kind of programming works really well on me. The anger stuff really well, and so I have to take a deep breath. And like we went to Walmart yesterday, and I told the girls, I go, I want to ask everybody why they're wearing masks, and as if I have no idea, because I thought it would be funny. But the truth is I wasn't actually in the mindset to be funny, because I was so irritated by everybody wearing masks. And so instead I found myself just like staring at them like, what is going on with you? Like, why are you wearing a mask? But not talking to them. I don't want to do that. I want to be a light of the Lord Jesus. And I want to walk around and have people see. I want to be able to go into a church that's doing just dumb things, and for people to look at me and go, she's handling this well, or she looks like a nice person, or I'd like to get to know her. That's really how I'm supposed to do this. I'm not supposed to walk around telling everybody how wrong they are, because otherwise you're going to have to call me Karen if I start doing that.
Yeah, that's a different type of Karen. I'm actually in the background trying to find a picture because, here it is. I found it. Because the social distancing thing, I found this the other day, and it makes sense to me. I mean, I'm willing to look at a lot of different ideas with things. I want to show you this picture. I put it on my community page. But let me see if I can share this. Let me see if I can share screen. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So let's see here. What do you see? Okay, so check this out. We have to stay 6 feet apart, right? Now, this is science. You have a magnetic field that courses through your body. If you don't think you do, I'll get a defibrillator and I'll prove you do. Okay, so you actually do. Because if I hit you with a defibrillator,
right,
you stop your heart, and you're done. And I can start it back up if God's willing. Yeah, it starts back up. Now, I thought there's got to be something with this 6 feet, because
6.
I'm not saying this is the answer, but we need each other. We need to be around each other as people. Okay. And proof of that is, why do we have solitary confinement? Why do people tend to be more comfortable if they're in groups? Why 10? Why are we limiting the number? And there's that 10 again, by the way. Remember we brought up $10? There's that 10 again.
Mhm.
So I see things like that. So, if you see this realm right here, are these two body figures, and that's their magnetic field within 3 feet. Now the concept is we affect each other just being around each other. And think about this, and I've noticed this as well, being around like a group of non-believers. Okay, I can sometimes sense anger building up, and I don't even know the people. I can just feel anger building up because their influence is bumping into my influence. You get what I'm saying? I'm not going new agey on you. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm so far from new age. The light from new age will take years to get to me. So what I'm saying is that God created us to be codependent, as a family, as one body in Christ, right?
Mhm.
And now they want us all to stay 6 feet apart. I mean, look at this. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, and that's why I say I don't remember if I said this with you or not, but me and a friend were talking about the blue pill and the red pill, and that the blue pill hive mind of the satanic agenda is bad. You don't want that, but the blue pill hive mind of Jesus is what you want. And so when you I say that, somebody's going to go, hive mind, but look, they hijack everything. The way it was supposed to originally work in the garden was that we didn't even know sin. We didn't even have the kind of knowledge that we have right now of these things and the technologies and all that stuff. And it was kind of like just we were the way God wanted us to be, and until they decided to do their own thing. So when we want to, so when you're saying what you're saying, that God created us that way, and you're saying I'm not getting new agey, no, they're just hijacking the system. You're right about what you're saying. We're supposed to come together like this. We're supposed to be community, and that's why I love that people say, this is a church, this is a good church community on YouTube. I agree. I have great friends. I love my community. We have come very close together, but our plan has actually been to possibly all live around each other someday. That's what we talk about.
Yeah, that's pretty. Well, you're in Montana. You better not leave there. I wanted to actually. I hope I didn't spill the beans. Well, I done said it now. We'll edit that out.
People know where I am. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm from Texas. I have property down there. But I was actually originally going to either get some land in Wyoming or Montana. So I definitely, if I was in Montana, I would not leave there. But where I'm at in Texas is very nice. I'm not going to leave there.
I would rather be in Texas because I don't like winter. But I don't know if you want to put our faces back up. Oh, there you go. I would rather be in Texas, but honestly, and people might think I'm crazy, I've talked about South America as a serious place. I already know someone down there. He's already going to buy some land in Brazil. So it's a possibility. I'm not saying that I go where the Lord shows me, but I've had a feeling, and when I prayed for my purpose years ago, it's been about 5 years that I really hunkered down and prayed for what my purpose is. The Lord showed me it would be some type of missionary work, but I didn't know where. And it felt like it'd be kind of a third world situation, but I didn't know where. And I started to think, gosh, is it going to be in my own country? Am I going to be doing third world missionary work here? That's very possible.
Yeah. Well, with the what are we at now? $27 trillion in debt. I think that's where it's at. I mean, yes. Yeah. Missionary work. I mean, we're a third world country that doesn't know we're third world yet. I kind of see this whole riot thing spreading. It's kind of like the purge, the story of the purge.
Yes.
We can't afford our citizens. So now let's purge. It seems like that's what they're doing.
I think so. There's a gal that did a video on that was pretty good. She can get kind of out there, so I'm not really going to promote her, but she was pointing out the similarities there, and I'm like right now it's almost like the election cycle is the purge, because that's when something riots, things like that. It's just getting worse and worse what goes on every election year on both sides. So I would tell people. I saw somebody saying worried about losing jobs and stuff, and that's why they're going to go along with some of these things. There's a lot of people that will do that, but if there's anyone like that here right now, we're talking about places we might live and coming together as a community, totally off grid. I would definitely try to get as off grid as possible, but I don't want anyone. I want people to rethink money. I want people to rethink dollars, because I asked somebody yesterday, would you be willing to move out of where you live? Well, yeah, if I could get a good job, pays well. And I'm like, well, what if you don't need that job? Can you try to live without job and dollars? I think we could do that, you guys.
Yeah.
That's what we want to do.
have chickens and farm and have crops, and that's what you need to do. Absolutely.
You don't need the job to do those things. And you may say, well, it takes money to do that kind of stuff. It doesn't even. You can watch that. I'm going to be annoying to everybody because I can't stop talking about this show alone, but it's so good because it just shows how you can survive off of. We were created to survive off the land, you guys.
Alone. I love Alone.
That's so good.
And your resume for Alone, by the way.
I'm glad you like my resume. I'm building it. I'm building it.
You need to puff that thing up a little bit.
Oh yeah, it's not very good. In fact, they would laugh at me. They'd laugh so hard if I even sent in anything. They'd be like, "This girl can't do anything." But I'm getting there, you guys, and I'm getting there. And that's the joke.
From Amazon, you can order from, and you can wait for the product from Amazon. You have that skill, right?
Yeah, I can order from Amazon. You guys, I can pull weeds. I can pull weeds. I can move rocks. Because I do this landscaping work right now, and it's just that's where I came up with my resume.
If you can identify which weeds you can eat, now you're.
That's exactly it. Yeah, I got to get there. The point of the joke of the resume is I am actually building a resume from a person that couldn't even hang up my own pictures on the wall. I mean, my husband did everything. He hooked up the TV. He hooked up, put the wires in a place where we didn't have to see him. I mean, just little things that I didn't ever want to do. I was totally incapable of being on my own. And when he passed away, I had to start learning how to do things on my own. And then I thought, I want to really learn how to do things on my own. And now I built a deck out of pallets. I built a pallet fence. I'm growing a garden. I've starting to learn how to, use knives and hand axes and sawing. I mean, I never even sawed wood, you guys. We're talking about a little city girl, and maybe in Montana, but I was a city girl, totally taken care of. I always found people that took care of me. I never did anything for myself. So that's changing. So while my resume isn't looking very good right now, it's going to get better. It's getting better.
Oh, it can only get better.
It can only go up from there.
Yeah. If your Alone resume has sweeping on it, sleeping. Am I saying that wrong? Is it sleeping? You can sleep through it.
I'm great at building things, but I have to have the things already kind of built a little bit first.
Yeah, I have a channel that I interact with, and it's one of my recommended channels, Corporal's Corner. Have you looked at Corporal's Corner? You should watch it.
No, I'm going to though.
Yeah, you look at that channel, subscribe to him, you guys. He's a former Marine corporal. And he has survival training to the same level as a pilot. I mean, I have his survival training, so he's legit. What he's doing is definitely legit. Like he'll show you bushcraft starting fires. He'll show you different types. Like scroll through his videos. Every type of starting fires he's done. He does solo camping with different camping gear, and of course he promotes gear. This is how he makes his money. Different companies give him. They say, here's a tent. Show this tent camping, and then he goes camping with it. And he, I mean, it's really an awesome show. Different knots. Learn how to tie all these different types of knots.
Yeah, that would be great.
And one thing that he did that I've not seen any other YouTube channel do is he'll hang his pack from a tree at his campsite. And I was trained to do that. When I saw him do that, just little things, you see something like, this guy's legit. He's hanging his pack, because that's what we were trying to do. So you don't get stuff climbing into your pack while you're sleeping. You wake up the next morning, carry a snake with you. That's not good.
Good point.
He would set things up, and then I've messaged him back and forth, and he talks about light discipline, noise discipline, changing your campsite from when you leave to make it look like you've never been there. That's a good thing to do. It kind of like, you go back, take a picture of it before you start, take a picture of it when you leave, and it looks the same as if you were never there. That may come in handy later on, stuff like that.
I think so. And I think, because we may get to a point where we have cities of refuge, and I've talked about that on my channel too, where that is in the scriptures too, where there's cities of refuge, and God may provide it, or we may have to build it, and God says build that, where people can basically run away to, and those may move around. They may be like moving nomadic tribal types of things. We don't know, but we got to be prepared to live off the land and not worry about a job and dollars. And I've got gold and silver. I can help you guys get off of that. Get out from under the government thumb of the dollar. You don't need it. That's just a forced fiat currency. And I'm not saying gold. There's the Bible even says there'll come a time where they're throwing their gold and silver in the streets. So I'm not saying even that's the most important thing. But I think it's one, if you haven't done anything to try to get yourself sufficient, in a self-sufficient way, that's one of the first easiest things you can learn how to do. The purifying water isn't too hard. The rest of it just comes with it. All the other things we need to start learning, it comes as we start doing the simpler things first. You can't look at all the ways of prepping and go and just be like, okay, I've got to learn it all. It's just overwhelming. And that's why I don't have a really good resume yet for my living off on my own. But I think that I pray about these things, and I think the Lord will have me ready when it's time to be ready for that.
Of course. And bottom line, I mean, we both need to agree on this. If you're prepping without Jesus, you're starting in a hole. You can't dig yourself out of that hole.
Oh,
you could be totally prepped up, and you're gonna die totally forever. I mean, you got to fix that part.
Yep. And you know what? I do know that if I ever do get on the show alone, I'll be the most prayerful person they ever saw, because I think about that and I'm like, they had a witch on season 6. She really was.
Did they show her do her thing? Did they show her doing
but she talked about, she had a feast on Halloween and talked about her witchy mother. And at first I was like, this chick kind of seems like a witch. And then she really kind of admitted it when she talked about Halloween and having her Halloween feast. And I was like, this chick's a witch. And I was so glad she didn't win.
Well, I'm wondering if you did Christian stuff, they probably just edit it out. You're probably.
I think so.
You'd say the Lord's Prayer every morning, because I know I would. I'd say the Lord's Prayer every morning and every evening. And pray for food and whatnot. They probably anytime you say Jesus, it probably just would just cut away and they wouldn't hear it. I mean, I'm sure they'd never let that stuff air.
I pray so much that I don't know how they'd get out of it. I mean, I literally would be talking to Jesus, not myself, the whole time. Like, that'd be the conversation. That conversation they're having with the cameras, I'd be having that conversation with the camera on with the Lord. So anyway, I'm just saying, if I ever get on, I'll be very prayerful. But I don't really plan to ever be on that show. That's just kind of a joke.
The producer would be like, yep, she's not winning.
She's talking too much about Jesus. Yeah, pull her for health concerns.
Cut her loose. She's spiritually unhealthy. Oh, well, guess what? It happened so quickly on this live stream. We're there.
Yeah, we are.
And you're awake, I think. Now you're how you could have been an hour ago.
Oh, I know. I was yawning. I was like rubbing my eyes. I was like, hold on. I need my water. I need my everything. I felt like I was not really with it. But it doesn't take long to wake up.
Yeah. Do you have something for the audience? Can I give you the audience?
Yeah, I kind of went there a little bit, but I'll just say it again, you guys. We are a community that loves Jesus, and we can come together someday, maybe in real life, and help each other out, and consider just getting yourself ready to be able to take care of yourself if it is only you and your kids or whatever for a while. But if we can come together, we got skills that we can help each other out, and that may come a time where we do physically come together and take care of each other. And so I'm looking forward to doing stuff like that and getting prepared to where I don't need their electricity. I don't need their water. I don't need their internet. I don't need any of those things. I can do it all on my own. And I hope to have some of you guys around, because we were made to be together. We were made to be community loving people with each other. And I hope that we have a really good one someday. I'm praying for more time, but I'm ready if Jesus comes back.
Yeah. And don't stay 6 feet apart. I mean, we're designed to be around each other. We're designed to walk up, give each other a hug or a handshake, touch is involved. This whole, stay away because you're going to get the coronavirus, which if you do the word numbering, COVID-19, it codes to 666. I'll just throw that out.
And 6 feet under, 6 feet apart. There must be something to that.
A bunch of 6 feet, so we got to be around each other. But this is a church family here. I mean, everybody popping in here, I'd say 95% everyone that comes on this channel and listens is a Jesus follower in some way, some shape or form, or just curious, which is very welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We want to protect the remnant too. Or, there will come a time there will be no more souls to save. So we can do it while we can, but we also got to protect each other.
That's a fact. Well, in 2 hours, Ark from Destiny Lab will be here. This is another double header on Thursday. So thank you, Aaron. I will
thank you.
Say goodbye to you. And if you can do it again next week, and I'm not flying.
All right, I'll be here. Thank you.
I won't bring up Chaz again. Oof.
They're on their own.
They're on their own. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good morning.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Hopefully you guys heard her say goodbye. I didn't mean to cut her off. All right, everyone. Like I said, 2 more hours. Just a quick note. Mike Murphy from the Like God Sea Warrior is still in the hospital. He is okay. I don't know how much he wants me to tell everybody about what's going on with him. Just keep him in your prayers and keep him in your thoughts and prayers. And whenever he gets out and can come back on here again, we'll talk to him. And then if he gives me some information that he wants me to tell you guys more, I will. But he's in our prayers. And I'll see you guys in about 2 hours. Remember to keep God first in everything you do. Love your neighbors as yourself. And Jesus is the only truth. See you in about 2 hours with Destiny Lab on here. Here's Ezekiel's wheel.
And in those days, there were giants in the land, and the sons of the angels of God looked upon the daughters of men and found them fair, and took of them wives, and their sons became of old great men of renown. So they have been mixing with us on a genetic level since the time of Enoch and Ezekiel's wheel.
Here on Earth we're intrigued by the sun, moon, and stars, and imagine there's got to be planets like ours. Some conceive of a face on the surface of Mars, so in need of a meaning and purpose we lost. That indeed they believe that these might be our gods, or that maybe with time we'll do right and evolve and eventually reach what they seek and then solve all the problems of man. But they really don't know that they call and the works of our hands are but just filthy rags. So we travel the lands to dig up our past. Time elapses and with it are much of the facts. Some imagine that gods came in alien crafts. They react in this way, they're so desperate for meaning and purpose. But satanic servants, they know this, they have evil motives. Am I making you nervous? I'm just scratching the surface. The signs from Ezekiel's wheel, when the skies unfold like scrolls and the breaking of seals. See the warning. The message is clear, heed the warning. The time draws near, see the signs from Ezekiel's wheel. When the skies unfold like scrolls and the breaking of seals. Heed the warning. The message is clear, heed the warning. The time draws near. In the blink of an eye, all believers will be raptured. Anyone left receives a mark on their capture. This leader will arise, claim his origins are alien, possessed by Satan on the side of the Nephilim. Profess those who left held us back from evolving, and now that they're gone, we'll solve all of Earth's problems. The worship of any one God will be halted, evolving to gods and ourselves be exalted. They'll play on these lines, and in time they'll devise and arrive at a plan that will help hypnotize all the ones left behind, the spiritually blind. He's stolen their souls, now he's stealing their minds. It's already started, we're seeing the signs. Just study the word, prophecies all aligned. They'll chop off the heads of all those who fight at one earth, one world. Aren't you excited? See the signs from Ezekiel's wheel, when the skies unfold like scrolls and the breaking of seals. Heed the warning. The message is clear, heed the warning. The time draws near, see the signs from Ezekiel's wheel. When the skies unfold like scrolls and the breaking of seals. Heed the warning. The message is clear, heed the warning. The time draws near. Where will you be in the year 2012? Are they casting a spell they're not ready to tell? It's time to reveal what they tried to keep veiled. Pure evil they hail and they sell it so well. He fell from the heavenly realms where he dwelled, a once beautiful angel that tried to rebel. Expelled from the light into darkness and hell, now a serpent and snake with reptilian scales. He wears a disguise with angelic wings and mimics the truth with a lie so obscene. He always repeats the same thing he told Eve, that you'll be supreme, a king or a queen, that you can evolve to an enlightened being, a god of your own that can do anything. He feeds on our souls with this fraudulent scheme in so many ways, but it's all just the same. See the signs from Ezekiel's wheel, when the skies unfold like scrolls and the breaking of seals. Heed the warning. The message is clear, heed the warning. The time draws near, see the signs from Ezekiel's wheel, when the skies unfold like scrolls and the breaking of seals. Heed the warning. The message is clear, heed the warning. The time draws near.
Why hide yourself with, creating UFO crafts and things like that? Why that deception if that's indeed what's going on?
The creatures figured out that there was one way that they could frighten mankind, and that is to present themselves as technologically superior beings from physical UFOs.
Why would they want to abduct human beings?
UFO abduction might not be caused by physical occupants, but from creatures living in perhaps what we would call another dimension.
Posing as occupants.
Yes, the same type of interfering, harassing, paraphysical creature in every culture worldwide.
You're still asleep? Wake up!
The lion will lie down with the lamb. There'll be no more killing or destroying, and the voice of weeping shall be heard no more.